Hello everyone and welcome to a new playthrough, this time of the game The Witness. Now, I have played this game before a couple of years ago and I never entirely finished it, but I absolutely loved the game. The setting of where this game takes place is absolutely stunning. The puzzles are just the kind of tempo I like. You learn with a few easy puzzles and you go on to harder and harder puzzles. And also this game has quite a few surprises, quite a few interesting types of puzzles I had never seen before. So what I want to do is make this series, and I will not be doing it like the previous games I have played. My plan for the game is to use this one as videos that I will intersperse in between other series when I'm still editing one, for example, so that I have something to fill up the gaps. And I want to space every episode so that we learn, for example, one mechanic or explore one area or one sub-area and kind of make our way through the game in that way. Now, the game does have a few surprises, and as someone who's played it before, I have to tell you that the first time you find one of those secrets yourself and then find out how many more secrets there are is one of the greatest moments I've experienced in game. So what I'm going to do today in this episode is give you a first look of the world of The Witness and what kind of puzzles we're facing. And if after this first episode you think, hey, this looks like a cool game, perhaps something I would like to play myself, I would recommend you do that first and then come back later to finish watching the series. And I sincerely mean that, like, it is worth doing it yourself. So then, as a warning, from episode 2 on, I will also be solving those secret puzzles. I won't give away too much yet, and then you can watch from there, or if you don't want to play it yourself, you can just watch through the series. So let's hop right into the game. We are dropped into this tunnel. Now I've quickly reset the commands so that I can use my AZERTY keyboard instead of QWERTY, but there's only really a couple of buttons you need to know: forward, back, left, right, shift to run, and then the mouse button. Now you'll see we are dropped into this cube with a yellow lighted panel in the back, something to draw our eye. And these are the type of panel puzzles that we'll be facing throughout the game. And the basic rule, that's rule number 1, that will apply to all the panels that you come across, is that you have a point with a large circle, and the point of the panel is starting from one of these large circles, bring a path to one of these endpoints that are also rounded. And what you'll see in this case, the door activates when we complete this puzzle. So this is the very basic of the game. go from the large circle to a endpoint. Base rule applies for all the panels. Okay, let's continue on in the cave. We see that now the panel, this path doesn't have to be a straight path. We can go from here to here. When I let go of the button and click, the puzzle ends, the path is complete. And we are now outside of our tunnel, and we are immediately greeted by a beautiful scenery here, and that's what this whole game is like. Like, just beautiful environments, almost like a work of art. And that's a game I really like, is one that lets you do something hard and really challenging, and then rewards you with beauty and artwork and things of wonder. That's, for example, one of the reasons why I liked Elden Ring, which, if you've been watching my YouTube series so far, is not a game you might place in that category that I play, but Elden Ring had just so many wow moments, and this game, The Witness, is also one of them. So let's explore around what we can find. So we came out of this room and we see a cable, an electric cable, running through this courtyard. So let's follow the cable and see where it goes. We see it as a kind of guide here, leading us to this panel. Now, what can we see in this panel? There is on the top a circle, a starting point, and at the bottom there is an end point. They look like these, so if you see them in a whole panel, it will always be this little thing sticking out. But now, going from the start point to the end point is not possible because these three black panels are blocking our way. So the panels that we see here, they are three panels that we see have cables coming out of them, and they will unlock when we solve other puzzles. Now, where are these puzzles? Well, we have these cables. Let's go have a look around what happens when we follow them. Let's follow this one first. Cable goes into the tunnel right here, and we are now inside a little tower. You also see this pathway up top, and we see now already a variation on the panels that we have seen so far. In this case, there are two possible starting points and one end point here at the top. So the game will continuously give you variations on the theme. The base rule still applies, get from one start point to one end point. But this time, for example, we have to see, okay, can I get from this left side to that point on the top? And what you'll quickly notice is that these three paths are blocked off. If I go to the right here, path to the north and to the east, blocked off. I can go down or go like this. But again, path up is blocked, path here is blocked and to the right, and I can maybe go to the right, but then here again, all paths are blocked. So just by reasoning and testing this out, I can see that this left path has no possible path from the start point to the end point. So I will have to use starting point on the right. So we go up, blocked here on the north side, we pass, go around. And I can find my way to the end point like this. And you can see this is now a continuous path from start to end. Now there are a couple of variations that you can take, and it doesn't really matter which one of these variations you take. There's no other rule applying to this panel. So this path, for example, is a good solution, but I could also take that other path just to show you that I could have also gone this way, and it would also solve the puzzle. So there are sometimes multiple solutions to a puzzle, and the game will also use those multiple solutions sometimes to let you do multiple things with one panel. So let's go back. We have now lit up this cable, and we can see this cable was connected to the middle panel, and the panel has now unlocked. So that is now a first part of this three-piece puzzle that is unlocked. Okay, let's follow cable number 2, the one that's running through the middle here. And we see that it goes over this wall. So perhaps I need to approach it from the other side. Let's go see where the cable leads on the other side of the wall. So it comes down here. We follow the cable. Have a little sofa. And then here in another tower, we now have a puzzle. Now, again, a variation on the theme. We now see one starting point, but there are 2 possible endpoints. Now, just looking at the cable, it looks like the cable on the bottom is where I want to go. So you'll see that the 2 solutions for this puzzle, one will go to this bottom cable, one will go to the top cable. So let's solve the bottom one first. So I need to get here. So that means if I have a look where I can go. So I usually map out some of these puzzles in my head before going in to solve. Here we go. Hang on. I was talking and then trying to solve, which is new to me, so sometimes I'll lose my my focus a little bit. So this is a path to the bottom. We have now activated the bottom cable. Let's go see what this did. We can see there in the background that now the bottom panel has also opened up. Now just to show you back on that same panel, what if I followed that other route? So you can see by having this solution, I also passed by that endpoint on the top. So let's just reset. You can always just click on the start point and the puzzle will reset. Let's go back there and now activate the top endpoint. We see the cable down at the bottom here is now black again, but we have activated a cable going outside of that window. Now, okay, we have a window, but it looks like there's no way to get there. Because this game, that's one of the things, has no jump button. So I cannot go and parkour up this wall, for example, to go there. The game is very, very clear on where you can go and where you cannot go. So you cannot cheat by, for example, passing a zone that would be unlocked with a panel that you would somehow subvert. So the game is very, very well tested with what it can do. Now our panel here has closed, so what I'll do first is resolve it. I just wanted to show you that sometimes these puzzles have multiple solutions, and that multiple solutions can also do different things. So just to reset, go this way again, pass by that endpoint, and go back to the bottom. Okay, so 2 out of 3 unlocked. Let's follow the last of the black cables. That's the one that goes here. We see now that this one crosses. And this panel, you will see, is black. So perhaps I need to activate that cable in another way with this panel that I have here. And we can see this one lights up. We follow the yellow cable, and now this panel that was previously also black now has activated. So again, the game is very deliberate with showing you some of the puzzles in order that you're supposed to solve them. You do have some freedom, quite a lot of freedom at some points, but it will also help you along the way. So where do we want to go? This is the only end point, this is the only start point. So the start point doesn't always have to start at the edge of a puzzle. So this time, I go this way, solve the panel, and the cable runs into the tower, comes down here, and now this big panel has activated. We see one start point, one end point. So let's solve. So to focus on the panels, you just click once and then it centers the puzzle in the middle. So let's see where we want to go. So there's not really a path to this branch because here we have yellow space. This is one way in. So if I want to solve it, I have to go through the right side. Like this. We also get a sound confirmation that something clicked open, and that is now the third panel here that has unlocked. Now we see that there is this large grid that I cannot pass through right now, but if I solve this puzzle, doesn't matter how, just a solution, we see that this gate now shuts down and I can pass on to the other side. Now I do want to show you one of the hidden nooks and crannies now. So we did have this panel here that we could activate for that cable running out of the window. So I'll just activate this when I go out of this area now and activate the top one, because our gate is already unlocked anyway. So once that one has been unlocked, it will stay unlocked now, even though there is that little third black panel that has closed up again. Now for the first time we set foot outside of our castle, and you'll see that there is a path leading us forward. And before I go back to the castle, I want to show you just this first view of the game, how absolutely beautiful it is. So we're on an island, and different puzzle areas are marked with different types of art, different styles of the game. So we see that orange forest there in the background, for example, here green forest with some pink shining through. We have the water there, palm trees there, and in the background a large mountain that will be important later on in the game. So this is the type of environment that we're facing. Absolutely beautiful. Now, just to show you, this is in the middle of this beautiful environment. Looks like a kind of bunker. We have a heavy door secured with a panel, and this panel looks nothing like the one we've seen before. We do see there are a couple of circles for starting points, but we also now see these black hexagonal points. We see these black squares and white squares with rounded corners. And we don't really know when we first get into this game what these mean. So that means I am missing rules that will apply on top of the base rule, get from one of the large circles to an endpoint. Now, I don't need to brute force this now. I will learn those rules along the way when I continue. So let's go back up here and have a little look around in the area. So we are now on the highest parts of this castle, this courtyard that we spawned into. And we can now see that the cables here that, for example, led to this panel go up here from this little boardwalk. We can see when we go up here, we also get a nice view of the island to come. Get a little top view. And now what I want to do is look for that one cable that I have activated that went up through that window. So I want to see where that one went exactly. So we see it goes up that window, but from this point I cannot reach it. Now I do want to have a look here. Because we see a couple of clues or a couple of items that give us some visual storytelling about this game. And just show you this beautiful environment. So here again we can see the ocean. And a top view of our island. Now let's go find out where that cable leads. So let's follow the wall. And you'll see there's this little rock debris path, kind of hidden, but we know now that this cable runs down to this door. And this door was closed at the very start. Now I know that from playing this before, but we can see the cable ends here at the door and the door is now open. So we have unlocked a secret area on the side of this cliff, just outside the area we spawned in. And all of these little areas are placed very deliberately throughout the game. And again, we now get stuck on a closed door. And I can see there's another area behind the door with another panel there in the background. But we are again kind of stopped now by not knowing what these hexagonal points mean. So the game does a really good job of giving you these secrets that you kind of have to remember, or you write it down so that you can return to them at a later time. So I'll use my sprint button to get back a little quicker. Don't really have to be afraid of falling off anywhere. The game is also very secure that way. I can go to the edge, but nothing will happen. And I can see another area in the background there. And you'll see every zone is marked by its own scenery there. Now, just for that panel we came from, by that door, I want to show you these types of panels. So throughout the world, you will find the rules for things that are superimposed upon the base rule of getting from a starting point to an end point. And these series of panels, like you see here, are placed here to teach you about those mechanics. And you can test out as much as you want with these, just to teach you these new mechanics. So, for example, I could go this way to the end point, and this would correctly implement rule number 1, get from a starting point to an end point. But what do I see when I try to complete? This little hexagonal or hexagon starts to blink red. Okay, perhaps I need to do something with this hexagon. I go that way, and now this hexagon starts blinking red. And this is telling me that I am missing a rule. So what could the rule be? Perhaps don't touch the hexagons. But if I don't touch them, now both of them are blinking red. So what if I touch both of them? I go to the top, bottom, I touch the second hexagon, and I complete. And we see this time the path turns yellow, which means I have completed the puzzle successfully. Could I have solved this puzzle in another way? Yes, I could go to this one on the right first, then go to the one on the top. And is that also a solution? Yes, it is. So this first puzzle has now taught me if I don't include any of the hexagons, they will both blink red. If I include only one, then the other one will blink red, the one I have not included. If I include both, the puzzle gets solved. Okay, let's move to the next panel. So the way you can quickly move from these panels that are oriented the same way is that you just click left, right, and it will automatically center on the next one. Okay, second puzzle, we have now 5 of these hexagons. How do we combine these? Well, we could go up, but then if I ever want to come back, I cannot cross paths. So that's another thing that you learn. Your path can only cross one intersection once. Okay, so if I start going here, I can never get to all 3 of these hexagons. So I have to go another way. So instead of going up, I have to go right here, for example. What can I do? I can go here, but then I have to choose. They either go up and then have to come back down for this one, but then I can never go for this bottom hexagon if I still want to reach the end point. So I can also not go up. Can I go the other way? Well, I could go up, but I could never reach this and the end point. I could never go down and do the same because then I'm in the same predicament. So I have to go back. And if I go forward here, I'm pretty much in the exact same situation. I can never go down and get to the end point. So you can kind of eliminate what paths you can and cannot take just by reasoning how to get through. So now this is a solution that I can follow. Go down first, then go up. And you create a path where at every intersection you are only left with one possible hexagon to cross. So this now is a solution. Now, next one. Looks a hell of a lot like the previous one, except this branch in the middle is gone. So that means that I cannot follow the same solution. If I were to try going this way, I'm kind of stuck here now because I can never go left and get to the end point. So we need a different solution. But I have already tested that going up here previously didn't work because there was also a branch to the right. But now this time, because that branch is not there, I can go down and return this way. And you'll see, I'll zoom out a little bit, that the puzzle has changed, but also my solution has to adapt to just this one tiny horizontal bar not being there. Okay, again, same shape of puzzle, except now this time the starting point and end point are in a different position. So the layout of the puzzle is the same, only these have moved. Let's have a look here. What if I start here? Well, I could end up combining these two, but how do I start? I can go up, but then if I go up, how do I get to this hexagon and this hexagon? That's pretty much impossible because if I go here, the only way to reach this is from the bottom and I am stuck bouncing into myself. If I go here, then how will I get to this hexagon? So that kind of tells me that although I have two possible starting points, this starting point won't resolve in a solution. So I have to start from another side here. And the way I can do it is by now going up this way down, take this in, and complete. And we see this is now the third layout that looks more or less the same, but with a third solution that looks completely different. Again, same layout for the last puzzle here, only the starting points have now moved and we now have 3 possible starting points. So again, let's eliminate. What if I start in the corner? Could I go this way? No, because I then have the problem that I cannot take both of these. I could go down, and that looks like it could be a solution, like this. But let's try another starting point. Could I find the solution here? I cannot go to that point, because then this one is closed off. Could I go to the right? Well, I could go here and here, but then here I face the same problem. This one is locked off. Same if we go to the right. You'll see that the point on the right there is closed off if I go down. If I go up, again here we are now stuck because this one is closed off. So it looks like the only possible way that we could have gone is from the corner here. So down, over, like this. And I have now solved all of the panels. Now these ones don't unlock anything. You'll see there's no cables coming out of it, but what has this thing done? It has taught me a new rule. Now we have found a panel that had that rule with the hexagons, and that was in that door behind the cliff. So let's go there again. So I didn't go up, but down here by the cliff. Sprinting back to it. And here we are at the door. Okay, having a look at the door, there's one starting point in the middle, one endpoint here top right. So what I have to do now is include all of these black hexagons into my solution. So let's see how I could do that. So by weaving, zigzagging, I can now include all of the hexagons into my solution. And our door is unlocked. So we have now reached a secret area. And what do we find in this area? There is another panel over here, but there is this little triangle, this orange triangle on it, that is a rule in itself again that I have not learned. So this one I need to learn somewhere else. Now I could try to brute force it. There's not a lot of ways to solve this, but I will come back to this later on when I've learned a new rule. We also have a panel here, and hidden here behind the tree, very sneaky, is a little device.
Of all the communities available
and they
to
are
us,
audio recordings.
there's not one I would want to devote myself to, except for the Society of True Searchers, which has very few living members at any time.
So these are kind of philosophical
Albert
musings,
Einstein, 1924.
as a completionist kind of thing. Okay, I'm trying to see where I could go. I think I see a solution. Like this. So now we don't zigzag, but we spiral out from the middle. So, gotta remember, we have this panel. I'm going to make a screenshot for myself so that I can come back to this later. And where do we end up? Back on our path, outside of our castle, hidden here behind the bush, was this little door that we could only solve from this inside. So that's kind of a first look at the game for you, how the puzzles are structured. So we have rules that we learn that you can superimpose onto the base rule, get from a starting point to an end point. And different zones will supply us with different rules. Different types of those learning panels will supply us with different rules. And you'll see that this island that we are on is absolutely huge. And by the end, we will learn a whole lot of rules. So I hope you will either try this game out yourself if you really like it, or follow me in my adventure of trying to get as far as I can into this game. I can't promise I will 100% it because there are in total something like 530 puzzles, so incredible high number, a lot of those hidden. But I will try to get as far as I can, and in the next episodes perhaps I won't do as much talking. I'll talk you through some of the rules, some of the puzzles, the secret puzzles that we'll encounter then, that I will introduce you to, and I hope you will just be able to enjoy it, watching it together with me. I might go through the puzzles a bit faster, so I don't have to explain every little corner that I take on every one of those panels. So thank you for watching and going on this adventure with me, and I will see you hopefully in the next episode.